I'm so happy you're here today to come and play with some words. We're going to start off with a reminder that spelling is all about meaning. When we're looking at spelling in English, we are looking at its orthography. And there are three parts to orthography. There's the morphology, which is the base and the affixes. What are the parts we're putting together to build the words? What other words can we make that are sharing a base and therefore are part of a word family? Phonology are the sounds that we hear in the words when we say them. And looking at that grapheme, the letter correspondence with the sounds, is a common place where we start looking at words and at spelling, but it can't be the only place that we go to understand spelling of words. Etymology is the history or the story or the evolution of the spelling over time. All of these three parts work together to help us communicate meaning through the written word. For today's mini video, I have looked at the online etymology dictionary, Etymonline, Linguist Educator Exchange, and the High Frequency Word Project. Today we're going to talk about the word who. And sometimes the word who gets categorized as irregular or odd because the letters that we see might not be making sounds that we think they should be making. So let's take a moment and have a look at the phonology of the word who. If I say the word who and I'm listening to the sounds that I hear when I say that word, I hear ooh. In order to identify what letters are making those sounds, I'm going to circle them in the word. Ooh. I have circled WH, working together to make the sound. And I've circled the O, making the OO sound. I can further identify them as consonants or vowels if I would like. Sometimes you might see the W left out and it just focuses on the H. WH is a very interesting combination, and that's actually part of what we're going to be talking about today. First, let's look at the O. Can we think of other words where the grapheme O is making the same sound? And the answer is yes. Words like do, to, move, prove, all have the grapheme O making the OO sound. So this is not an odd thing. We see this happening in other words. Therefore, it is logical that the grapheme O is making this sound in the word who. If we go back to the Old English spelling of who, what do you notice? Well, I notice that the H and the W have switched spots. We know that the word who is part of a collection of question words that start with WH. Who, what, when, where, why. Interestingly enough, all of these words share the same HW beginning in their Old English form. Take a moment and have a look at the Old English form of those question words and how we know to spell them today. What do you notice about the spelling? When we look at all of these question words, we notice that they all start with WH. We can see that connection to the Old English spelling that used to be HW. Who is the only one of the question words where the WH is making a H sound. The remaining question words have a W sound at the beginning. We cannot change the spelling of who because of this phonological difference, because we need the meaning and the connection to stay amongst the question words. So very quickly, when we see these words in print, we see these WH words together and know that there is a connection amongst the question words as they all begin with the same two letters. So are there other words that we can think of where the WH is performing that same phoneme? And the answer is yes. We see the word who. The word who is historically related to words like whom and whose. We can also see the WH making as a sound in the word whole. We have proven that it is not odd in its spelling. We know of other words where the WH are coming together in front of the O and is making the sound. And we saw other words that have the O making an oo sound. So there is nothing odd about how the word who is spelled. It all makes sense once you understand its orthography. That's it for today. Please remember to stay curious. When you see words that you're not sure about why it's spelled the way it is, that's when we start to investigate.